Yeah, so I want to also thank the Auburn Hills Chamber. You guys are awesome. Like, if you're not a member, I think, like, we can all agree if we're members, like, this is an amazing chamber. So,
That's true.
join if you're not part. So, anyways, all right, so let's get into it. We're going to try and keep it high level. I'm going to try and move quick. However, if I move too quick, raise your hand, throw it up. We want this to be interactive, kind of like a workshop, right? So if you have a question, don't worry. Please ask the question.
And I'm up here with a marker, so if he says something that you're like, ooh, I'm confused, this is a workshop,
Yes.
right? It's not a lecture. Raise your hand and ask questions. And actually, do you want to start with that?
Yeah, actually, Chris had a good idea of just like throw stuff out there.
Is there
what is something
anything-
you're hoping to get from today?
Like, when you signed up for this, you paid $25 out of your pocket. What's something that you were hoping we would cover here, or what was something that you were hoping as a takeaway? Or something that you just are too afraid to ask? How to not be afraid.
Good.
Okay, that's a good start. What else?
Sales research.
Sales research. How can you be more specific?
Like the prospect research on your customers.
Prospect research. I love it.
one.
They reduce my time.
Oh yeah,
Making progress.
time saving.
Time saving for prospecting.
We're just time saving in general.
Yeah.
When Google gives you the prompts for AI, should you click on it?
Good question. Trust.
Is there one F or two F's in afraid? Two. Thank you. What was that? Google prompts?
Or basically, can you trust what Google gives?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can eat one rock a day and be safe. Yeah.
Which platform works the best?
Okay, good one. Yeah.
Claude, Copilot.
What I'll say is best is subjective. We're going to have our opinions and we're going to share them.
Yeah, I could briefly mention like the strong points of each one. Just I use the four top ones interchangeably. So, but not most people won't.
And I'll tell a story on that in 1 second. Anyone else? Yeah.
Cost effective.
Cost effective.
Saving costs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's a question here.
Yeah, we're here.
Okay.
When you're doing research or asking a question, I'm not sure that's what I mean. Is it going out and looking at all what's on the internet and bringing it back to you, or is it making shit up?
Hallucinating. Yeah. So
I want it on the record, Gene. I was not the first one to swear today.
So I would put pitfalls and hallucinations. Yes.
How to keep your environment secure.
Keeping
Security. I like it.
It's a big one.
I need you with complaints. Compliance.
Yeah. Can we go another
It's not on compliance and sales coaching. All right. So,
Just full transparency. I don't necessarily think we're gonna get to everything today, but now I'm like, okay, let's rush through these slides. So if I go too quick, slow me down.
I will. And just so you know, we're both accessible. Whether it's at a Java with Gene, an ambassador meeting,
Yes.
or just grab our emails, we're accessible if we can help you answer more questions.
Yeah.
I was going to tell her a story, but I'm stealing your spotlight. So,
Tell a story.
okay, so late 90s, me and all my buddies, graduates of college, no wives, no kids, disposable income, bad decisions, right? Loading up, 4 buddies going up north for a golf trip. My buddy Joe Ross is the tech guy in the group. So Joe is the first one of us with the Palm Pilot. He's also the first one in the group that had an actual BlackBerry that only did email. He also had the Garmin GPS with the suction cup on the window. He also had the Olympus digital camera. He had the Winamp MP3 player. And then he had his flip phone. And God knows what other gadget he had and how many different power cords to plug into the cigarette lighter. Because remember, 20 years ago, we had cigarette lighters in cars. And I said to Joe, I swear to God, I'm like, this is too much. I said, you want to be billionaires? Let's come up with one device that has all this stuff in it. I'm convinced Steve Jobs was listening to me that day, and I missed my opportunity. But what I think you're going to learn from Matthew and I today is that we're at that phase right now where I use one platform for research. I use another platform for prospecting. I use another platform for video editing. I use another platform for debrief calls, recording calls, transcripts. We're kind of in that phase where you might have to carry 6 or 7 devices and charging cords, but I think it's going to really start to slim down.
Yeah.
All right.
So we're gonna see more of that. So let me give you a quick analogy. So Whenever you think of Legos, is this the first thing that comes to mind? No. However, this was the first Legos. So like before he invented the interlocking brick with an injection molding machine, he was making wooden toys. So it's going from where we were prior to the major, pivotal moment was 2022, the release of ChatGPT by OpenAI. But going from that is kind of like what we're doing with Legos. And so I think a lot of people see people on LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever, and it's just overwhelming because you're seeing all these people. I'm doing this. I'm saving 4 hours a day with AI, whatever. And there's so much hype out there. Really, what's going on is a lot of people are kind of trying to sell something. That's one thing, but the people who are getting it to work for them, think of it like we're a bunch of kids playing with toys, right? So what I'm telling you is, get excited. We don't have wooden toys anymore. Now we have Legos, and so there's an infinite combination of ways to build our own toys nowadays. Things are going to transform so much for your business if you adapt to it and adopt it, that the next 5 to 10 years is going to be extremely exciting. So I don't know if that analogy helps. I'm going to be circling back to that analogy throughout this presentation. So let's keep going. Whenever you hear somebody say, "Oh, I'm using AI for this," is there a little bit of insecurity that kicks in, "Oh, why didn't I think of that?" Well, that's kind of like playing with Legos, right? So if somebody were to make a toy, a little kid, I have 3 kids, but one of my daughters, "Look what I made, Dad." Does my other daughter say, "Oh, why didn't I think of that?" No, it's learn from that. Oh, maybe I could do that and make my own version. That's what a lot of these tools are like, what Chris was saying with combining everything into one platform. Right now, we have the option to combine things together.
Anyone?
Yes.
Did you find those images?
Oh, by the way, every single image you'll see in here is AI generated. So yeah, this is all fake.
And we always say at Sandler, do your R&D. Do you know what R&D stands for? No. Rip off and duplicate. So if we come up with something up here, you don't have to ask permission.
Yeah.
Plagiarize the hell out of it. Okay? If you see something you like, take it. If there's a prompt we're using, ask us to forward it to you.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not getting the username and password to my accounts, but short of that, we'll give you what we have.
So today we're not gonna, most AI presentations, we're gonna be like, this tool does this tool does that. You can get that in a YouTube video. I don't wanna waste your time and money by sharing just different tools that can do different things. What I wanna share with you is everything I wish I would have been told at the beginning of my AI journey to dispel fears, give me in the right direction, give me some traction. So this is all relevant to what I think is important for to conduct your business. So today I'm gonna go quickly through these. We're gonna talk about perspectives on AI. Core content's gonna be history, glossary of terms, principles, best practices, use cases, and examples. We're gonna try and move very quickly through this, but then we're gonna leave time for a breakout session. So every single one of you have something at your table. If you flip that piece of paper over, this is part of our workshop. So as we're going through this, be thinking about a pain point in your daily to monthly workflow that's something that you hate doing, that is low skill, okay, that you could teach to an intern very quickly. So that's just, I'm gonna put a pin in that for later. All right, so let's move on. So when it comes to AI, I kind of want a little bit of audience participation here. So everyone's coming to the table with a different mood, a perspective, and attitude, whatever you want to call it. So what I found is there's people like me, Chris, Rick, very excited about AI, okay? Then there's people who are very fearful about AI. Oh no, it's gonna take my job, it's gonna rule the world, we're all gonna be extinct.
We've got 4 to 5 years before the machines try to kill us. Don't worry.
Yeah, give or take. Then there's people who are just simply annoyed about this. Can I call you out, Abby? Abby was one of those ones. And that's why I'm like, Abby, you need to help me develop this chart. Because you're kind of you see all the stuff on social media, you're like, oh my goodness. It's just, it gets annoying. And then there's people who are completely indifferent, could not care less. And then there's the secondary feelings that kind of intermesh between them. And I've interacted with a lot of people around AI, and this is the matrix of what I've seen. So Are any of these overtly healthy? No, we want to be in a place of healthy adoption. Healthy adoption is where you're not overly ambitious, overly excited, where you could actually lose money because you're investing it in a technology that's overly hyped. You're not overly fearful where you just want to go crawl under a rock. Everyone should try to work towards this, and it's going to be something that you have to daily to monthly check yourself on. I use this matrix all the time, and I'll share with you how it's effective. First of all, if you're overly excited, you need to adopt a little bit of skepticism and be realistic about what the tools can and cannot do. Okay, sorry for those of us who are excited. For those of you who are fearful, adopt a bit of rationale and understand it's not going to kill you. And I will say this, if I'm wrong, and it does, we all have bigger things to worry about, but I don't think it's gonna go that route. I have no time to talk about that, why. If you're annoyed, adopt some pragmatism and see its usefulness. I don't think anybody in here is gonna be in this category, but what can happen is, or I'll say this last one, and then if you're indifferent, develop some curiosity. And you wanna check back with the technology monthly to quarterly. I will be honest, I have kind of gone over the map. I've been at times where I'm over here. And what I tell myself is I pull out the map and I say, okay, all right, I need to get curious again. I don't want to be curious. I'm annoyed with this. Well, get curious, get pragmatic. And then it kind of helps me kind of to stay in the circle. Does that make sense? So quick audience participation. Who wants to throw their hand and say, yeah, I find myself in this quadrant or whatever? John.
Yeah, I'm curious. I don't know why the hype is so much, so I'm just curious on what it is.
So you find yourself somewhat
I think
left
so.
to your own devices in the indifferent category.
Maybe.
Okay. Linda?
I thought you just wanted a yes.
Oh. Yes. All of them. All of the things.
Thanks, Miles.
Chris, any thoughts on this?
I think the entire crowd is now trying to figure out, like, I don't know, some of you, like, I'm a little bit all of the above.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to put yourself into a bucket. We're judging you up here as we speak.
Yeah. We're going to be all over.
Kidding. But I think Matthew really points out a really good thing is that, like when you said what's the best, there's no right or wrong when it comes to AI. It is moving so fast. I just talked about AI down in Orlando at the summit, like I said, and I'm already seeing the different prompts, different options, different updates have come through. It was 6 weeks ago. Like, you got the slide for how many adapters started for like stuff. Do you have that?
Adapters.
It was something like to get the first billion users on Facebook. It took
Oh,
them-
no, no, you mentioned that. I don't have that slide.
I'll ask them.
Okay.
So keep going.
Well, let's actually maybe in the history.
Yeah.
So let's move on. Let's get through this one quickly because I don't want to waste your time, and this is kind of a boring part. But so how we got here? People think that AI started in 2022, but it actually began in the 1950s as a result of code breakers. Anyone seen the movie Imitation Game?
Yeah.
So that guy is the one who kicked off Turing, the development and the concept of artificial intelligence. With that, in 1956, they established AI as an actual area of study. 1997, so there were a lot of not major breakthroughs that happened. There was called an AI winter. 1997, Deep Blue wins chess. Has anyone ever heard of that? Yeah, Kasparov gets beat by an AI. Since then, a human being will never be an AI at chess. However, chess is more popular because people value now what humans bring to the table. So no one wants to sit there and watch two AIs battle it out, although some people do. But anyways, then in 2012, something even crazier, AlexNet wins ImageNet. This is a big deal, and I'm not going to get into the complexities there, but basically this team developed a way of using graphics processors to process data much faster, and that was really what kind of started us closer towards AI like we know it now. Then in 2016, AlphaGo wins the game of Go, which is like chess, but it's way more complex. And it did so by inventing moves. No one saw that coming. So, and then finally in 2022, everybody's familiar with OpenAI, releases ChatGPT, and now we have, what was the slide you were going to mention? How many users?
So any old AOL users back in the day, okay, took AOL 15 years, 5,475 days, but about 5,500 days for AOL to hit 100 million users worldwide. Fast forward Facebook, from 5,500 days to 1,600 days. 1,640 days for 15 years to 4.5 years from AOL to Facebook. ChatGPT, 100 million users, 2 months.
Wow.
I mean, you see the speed at this
Yeah.
in adaptability. There's 400 million active ChatGPT users a day, and I don't even use it. I use Grok, so that's just my
So-
point of this is the speed
Yeah.
of it.
So let's move into some quick terminology. This is going to make you sound smart. So, but this is also just basic, and also I don't want to talk over by using terms that, Chris said you'd call me out if I do this. So,
The point of this slide is if he sneaks into buzzwords later, you'll know what he's talking about.
yes. So, machine learning, this is kind of the base for operations for AI. This is not a new thing. This is machines and algorithms learning from data. That's basically what it is, simply put. LLM, I'll use this one a lot. Large language model. This term you may have heard of. It's referred to ChatGPT, Grok, Claude, Gemini, Copilot, Meta, what have you. But all of the different LLMs are a large language model. So that's that term. Generative AI, anyone ever heard this term? This is another buzzword. Gen AI, basically, it's this AI combination of models used to generate text, image, audio, and video. Like I said, all the images are generated with AI, those using with stable diffusion models. Agentic AI. This is where things get very interesting. These are the cool Legos that we get to put together. AI agents are LLMs that have hands that can interact and do things for you. Has anyone had any experience working, or Rick, you were telling me that you had.
I was trying to book written down her phone, and I said, go find me the best book it gave a credit card, and actually got to where I was watching it, used you to watch it. And I said, okay, this is screwing me out, my style.
Well, actually, I was getting ready to purchase.
Yeah.
I was like, hold on, what?
Yeah. OpenAI's version of ChatGPT called Operator for $200 a month can do this. Now, it's still very funky. Not really usable, but more of a concept at this point. This is where things get really cool, though. So I'm going to refer to agentic AI and Gen AI and LLMs. Real quick, let me go through these super quick. ANI, artificial narrow intelligence. This is like what Chris was saying. The different tools are kind of like a tool on a workbench, right? Artificial general intelligence is still somewhat science fiction. It's debatable. As far as an entity or a tool that can interact with every single tool. It would be like combining all the Nobel Peace Prize winners. They can speak every single language and they work for $1 an hour. So like that's I think what people are afraid of is an artificial general intelligence taking our jobs. Yes, Juan.
Will these slides be available?
Yes, good question. All these slides will be available. ASI, complete science fiction at this point. That's a model that is exponentially getting smarter. That's Skynet. That's what we see in these sci-fi movies.
Jarvis.
Huh?
Jarvis.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Jarvis would be another one. So, so these are some terms. Any thoughts on this before I move on? I don't want to spend too much time here because this is the boring part. All right, cool. Let's move on. So let's talk about some principles now, because before you really start to get effective with the tools, it's good to understand like a base principle, get some wisdom right now. So this is straight talk wisdom that me and Chris have really learned using these tools. So first off, discern the hype. How many people are sick of the hype? I am. Yeah, it gets annoying. It's like, oh, it's going to do this, and it's going to take all our jobs, or it's going to make a utopia. This is what a lot of people say. No one's going to have to work anymore, and you're going to be able to do whatever you want, and that's just not how we work. We always want to do something. We're not going to just sit around and collect a paycheck while all the robots do our jobs. Now, is it going to make things more cost effective? Yeah, probably. But it's not, I think to say that we're going to straight utopia is a bit overly hyped. Then you have the other side, which is Elon Musk saying we're at the event horizon of the singularity. In other words, AI is coming for all of us. It's like
This is an actual photo of the new downtown Auburn Hills, too. Used to be Brownfield.
So this is not the Auburn Hills that we want. But that's also overly hyped. I think that what that does is that makes you want to panic and invest your money into maybe a bad financial decision. So these are just a few things. Learn to discern the hype. Anytime you hear somebody hype something up, just say, okay, what's your motive? Just be a little bit skeptical. Use AI to get better with AI. Don't know where to start? Start with ChatGPT or Perplexity or one of these tools that will help teach you what you don't know. And you can actually talk to it. And I'll say, tell me what I don't know. And it'll say, where do you want to start?
Well, there's something I've been saying. Any sort of AI tool is as smart as you want it to be or as dumb as you want it to be. And you'll only learn by experimenting. You think about being an little kid learning to walk, you're going to fall down some before you actually get your feet going. And like language, like use it to get better. Just find an article that you were like, wow, this is a really long article. I would like to read about this in politics or whatever it might be. Drop the URL into ChatGPT and say, explain this like I'm 5 in 500 words. You'll be amazed at how quickly it gives you the synopsis of what they're talking about. And then you can go, I'd like to spend 20 minutes reading this article, or go, well, I kind of didn't spend 20 minutes reading that article, right? It's there, simple stuff. Like we're coming up on Memorial Day weekend, right? Anyone hosting, cooking, having friends over? Okay. My wife loves those long drinks. You know what the long drinks are? Okay, you know what they are? They're expensive and I'm cheap. So I went to Grok and I said, give me a recipe for a sugar-free version of a long drink. You know, it's just like gin and Fresca. I mean, there's some more stuff to it, but we're gonna make them in the pitcher for the weekend and we're gonna save a bunch of money. Stuff like that. Like, don't be intimidated it's gonna solve the world and cancer and everything else. Use it to give you a good potato salad recipe for the weekend.
Another quick example of that. My daughters love the oatmeal that I make. I call it World's Greatest Oatmeal. And my wife just can't do it. She just can't do it. My daughters have tried to teach her that she doesn't. So my wife likes instructions. So as I was making World's Greatest Oatmeal, because I'm not paying attention to it, I just try and like, oh, wait, you build more of this. So I'm like, this needs to be documented. So I opened it and I say, hey, I'm going to talk through. I added a teaspoon of this. Okay, now I added a tablespoon of that. Now, and so then I kept track of it. And I said, now when my wife needs this recipe and she tells you how many people she needs it for, I need you to be able to scale it up and so make the adjustments. So now my wife always pulls up in that chatbot and says, I need to make it for X amount. Usually just 3 people. But, and it's like, use these ratios or whatever. It's pretty cool. There's so much you can use it for. This is a very important point here. Did you have something to say, Chris?
No, I just got 30 more examples of non-business cases.
Oh, yeah. Personal use cases are awesome. I love it. So this is something that's very interesting. Studies show that when people treated your AI, your LLM, like a tool, you actually don't get the results and you get more frustrated with it and you tend to give up more on it. However, if you treat it like a teammate and not a tool, even though it is a tool, you inherently prompt, coach, give it better information that you will just naturally receive a better outcome. I thought that was really interesting that the data massively supported new users who were just nice to it. I know that sounds really silly, but Rick's nodding his head.
Yeah, I got mine trained where everybody knows I like soul edge. Yeah. I even told, yeah, right. I said, I love Rodney Dangerfield, Norm Macdonald, and I go, it's learned that I tell jokes. And he goes, want to Dangerfield this up a bit? I go, yeah. And I think of the first time, right? Absolutely. So I thought that makes it more personal and learns about life events that you've gone through. But I there too.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool.
Can you speak to the recent seeing articles lately that are saying like how much money it's wasting by saying please to ChatGPT?
Yeah, it is. It's wasting their money, but I mean, it's not wasting your money.
Right.
Yes. Anytime that it has to process a new prompt, it's working through like So like if everyone stopped being polite to it and saying thank you, that it would save energy costs, but it would also not work as effectively. So there's like a trade-off. So all right. Any thoughts on that before we move on? Okay. So now I will really want to get into some use cases and tools. This I think you'll find is really cool. One of the things I was using. So one of the big three things that you are doing in your daily life, daily work, is learning, finding, or executing something.
Hold on, quick thoughts. HubSpot. Is everyone familiar with HubSpot as a product?
Yes.
A CRM, customer relationship manager. So this is like what Salesforce.com would be to manage your clients and your contacts and your marketing emails and your deals in the pipeline. HubSpot is what Matthew and I both use for Sandler and Insight.
And quick shout out, we at Identity Creative, because it's part of our marketing outreach, is to what's it? Not HubSpot implementers. What's the actual term? Implementer. Okay. So we help because HubSpot's kind of overwhelming. So when somebody signs up for HubSpot, we typically will facilitate that and make sure that the tool is being used effectively. So, however, HubSpot has this cool thing called Breeze, which is their agents. Remember how I said agentic AI? There's a customer that I worked for a while back. I built a tool when AI was still somewhat rudimentary. It was a long string of automations where I would enter in a name, that name would go into this system, that system would then feed it to this AI bot, which would then go and do some research on it, which would then go and write an email based on the research, which would then give me the email that I could review. And so it was this really long process that took me a while to build. And so when we started using HubSpot agents, I was like, I should build this here. I was like, first, let me check out this prospecting agent. You mentioned prospecting. All I had to do was give it a name, train it a little bit on how, or not give it, before I give it a name, I train it. You know, I teach it how I want it to be. I want it to talk. I talked about what we sell. And then I just gave it a name. It went and did all the work. And it probably took me like, an afternoon to set that thing up. I mean, this was amazing. And all of a sudden it's got like, here's all the emails I'm going to send to this guy. And I was like, what? You did all that right now? And you're really like, yeah, this is, maybe I wouldn't say that. I mean, but I mean, I don't know about you, but that got me excited. That was cool. It went ahead and did work for me.
Okay.
So, yes.
You say you trained it. Well, what does that mean?
Training it can be everything from talking to it, like talking to it like you would with an LLM, or it could just be giving it like the way how HubSpot has it set up. It's not necessarily in like a chat format like you would see with a typical LLM. You would train it based on enter in all of these things that you sell, and then I also went through and picked different personas that I wanted to talk like. So it's still in its beta stage because what I want to do is I want to get to the point where I can actually train it. Now they do have another one called our customer bot where I can input that onto our website, and I can train that and teach that how I want it to talk. So anytime somebody comes to our website, anybody have one of those things on their website where they click it and it's basically just like a few responses and like, let me get you to a person. Well, this is a bot, so it's almost like having ChatGPT embedded into your website, and that you can actually train. And I've actually done that, and it's fun because like I don't know how I would answer that question. How much does this service cost? Well, let me teach you. So teaching it like it's a real person. That's an example of an agent, something that I've used and found some success with.
Okay, Matthew, how do you
Yes.
interrupt for a second? Your question was so my question. Our business coach said, okay, now I want you guys to write out some sales processes. So I want you to create some AI tools, from this customer perspective and from that customer perspective. And I was like, Pop-Tart instructions going over my head. Like, I am not getting any of this. So Matthew went to BuiltTheBots and he showed me how he was doing those. There was a section to configure it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the training. So I didn't know what he was doing. So I go to this one bot that he created that is one of our customers who's short, he wants to get right to the point.
Yeah.
And I asked a question and I said, hey, I pressed shit before I said hi. He goes, what do you want? He's like, why are you yelling at me? Because we're wasting time. Let's just get to the point. So he had configured it to be the kind of customer.
Yeah, I did that for our social media person so that they could take their social media posts because manufacturers and industrial companies are a lot of our clientele. And so we want to be able to talk to those people. But if we write, they don't care about how we write. So we want it to be in their jargon. So we're like, this is a tough product.
But
does
that was
cool
the
stuff,
training, was that,
Yeah.
that's what helped me understand.
Yeah.
Does that?
John,
So
I
we
think
will-
of it this way too.
Yeah.
John, are you familiar with disc styles, disc personality styles?
Yes.
Okay, so like I'm a high I, meaning I'm very, very gregarious, outgoing, high energy, relationship based. If I'm talking to a very introverted accountant that's very work focused, I can overwhelm them.
Yeah, I get that.
So-
But like, literally, how do you train it?
Yeah, I'm gonna
You're
use that.
gonna
Hold on.
Nicely to people.
No. John, I will take an email that I've written.
When you say, here's you talk to me, are you typing it or you audio function?
I like the audio function. You just get the app and I'll walk my dog and I'll just talk to it.
Is that
I type mine, so let me give you an example. I've got an email that I want to send to an accountant about the sales coaching that we do, and like calling it sales is bad, so it's client development or client, that kind of thing. So I'll pull an email I already have and say, hey, I'm a high I on disc. This person's a high C. Can you rewrite this from a Sandler sales performance coach to an accountant at a 20-person CPA firm? And you know what it'll do? It'll actually go in there and make it more bullet pointed, because an accountant is actually wanting to look at the data of what I'm saying in the message. Versus sending something to Gene, who's a super high gregarious I, like me, hey, Gene! Exclamation point. How's your day going? Like, those that are the more introverts in the room, if I send you that email, it's like, hey, how's it going? Exclamation point. Hope your day's going great. You're looking at my email going, what the hell is this guy wasting my time for? Yeah. So I can train it with my personality on the communications I want to send or the marketing messages. Here's another example. The ambassadors, I know Rick's seen them, the videos that I've been putting on LinkedIn. Anyone seen any of my LinkedIn videos? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't write those. I go to ChatGPT and I give it a prompt and say, I'm a Sandler sales performance coach. Give me a 3-minute script for a LinkedIn vlog on prospecting, on communication, on grit, ironic.
Yeah.
And then I just use my screen like a teleprompter and I read it, but I have enough personality to do it. And if it writes a script and I don't like it, or it doesn't sound Sandlerized enough to me, I'll rewrite and say, that's too formal, that's not me. Make it a little more sarcastic. Make it a little more, and
It remembers that.
Yeah.
So here's another thing with the free version of ChatGPT, it automatically learns from you, but based on your responses. No, I didn't like that. So that in and of itself is training at its most basic format. But because we don't have time today, we're going to follow this up with another webinar. We're going to try and do quarterly webinars because the technology is constantly changing and updating. Each webinar, I want to walk you guys through an AI roadmap. And so the next webinar, Linda has said that it should really be on how to train a custom AI bot. It sounds scary, not scary. Is it scary?
It's so
Once I showed her how to do it, it's like, nobody here's writing code. It's not that. I know I sound smart. I'm really not. What were you gonna say, Paul?
When you say training, is that essentially programming? the
No, like
process?
you're not writing any. You're
No,
not.
I don't mean coding. I just mean just programming it to do what you want it to do.
Yeah. In a short sense,
if you-
don't think of programming as code,
Right.
but programming as in giving it direction. And if you're thinking training like anyone coach youth sports, you know how frustrating it can be because you tell them what to do 17 times and they don't damn it listen to you?
Yeah.
This listens to you the first time.
Or
So training
so-
it.
Sometimes it can be.
It won't be perfect maybe, but after a couple of clean it up, make it shorter, make it more formal, make it less formal,
Yeah.
like make it more professional, like after a couple of, hey, that's good, let's try this, it really starts dialing in and it learns quick.
Like an intern. You train it like an intern. That's what I said. Remember in that last slide? Treat it like it's a team.
Yes, everyone just looked at you.
Or new
Sorry,
employee.
Grace. That's or a new employee. Yes. All right. So this next one, I'm really excited to show you. We talked about learning, finding, or executing. This one is all about learning and finding. So Gemini, and I'm just using Gemini as an example. Claude has a deep research function. Grok has a deep research function. ChatGPT has a deep research function. I tend to like Gemini's because it works well with this other tool called Notebook LM, all within the Google platform. And if you have Google Workspace, this is free. So this is a really cool tool. So let me just give you a quick example of what I did with this. So using Gemini's deep research, I gave it this prompt. Now, for anyone who understands prompting, this is not a good prompt. I basically was trying to put myself in the shoes of, okay, I made up this kind of like this mom and pop $5 million manufacturing company that's stuck in the Stone Age. As you can see, it's not cleaned up. But I said, tell me what I need to know so that I can become a modern company. Like, I don't even know where to begin. I put myself in the shoes of this person that I made up, and I gave it this prompt. And I also said, include any non-technical stuff like marketing and branding. I gotta throw that in there. That's what we do. So I just said, basically, I want an in-depth roadmap for how we get from where we are to where we want to be. Does that make sense? It's not a clever prompt. It's not creative. That's all I did. I hit enter, and then it said, here's what I'm going to do to research. And it gave me this, I think it was like a 15-step plan for what it's going to do to research. And I reviewed the plan. I'm like, sounds good to me. I'm not gonna be technical about this. I'm like, go. Then here's a cool thing. It gave me this 41-page in-depth roadmap in 10 to 15 minutes. And I was so overwhelmed by all the value that was instantly generated in this document. I said, how much would this have cost me? Now I'm asking the tool, so I can't necessarily say that that's how much it would have cost, but it even gave me a whole breakdown on how much it would have cost to have humans do this, let's say 5 years ago. 25 to 80,000. And it did it in 15 minutes for free. Now here's where things get really cool. How am I gonna digest all of this information. Let me show you this. So I actually have the document pulled up here. This is the document. You can see how in-depth it is. They have everything from outlines to, if I keep going, they have tables. They even have right here automated headings. Look at this. This is, I mean, I don't know about you, but this blew me away when I first did this. What I think is so cool is you can see they have tables. Comparison recommended ERP systems for SMEs. You see how in-depth this is? So now I'm like, how am I even going to digest this? I'm a very auditory learner. So I threw it into this tool called Notebook LM, and I basically gave it a prompt. I said, give me help me understand all this. And here's the prompt. Oh no, that wasn't even, I basically just said, help me understand this. And then it gives me tons of learning tools. So here's one thing that was cool was it gave me this mind map, which is basically like a breakdown of everything and understanding. So if I click, okay, operational excellence, I want to learn more about that, then and it will teach me about what the document shared in there. And then I can say, break it down into like 5th grade understanding so I can understand this. But here's where I think it gets really cool. It generated a podcast of 2 people talking about it. You can see it's a 30-minute podcast that I can listen
Welcome
to.
to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling a really significant challenge. How to bring a $5 million manufacturing facility, one that's maybe operating with, well, let's call them Stone Age practices, into a truly resilient, efficient, future-ready state.
Exactly. And your mission, listener, is sort of to get that strategic understanding of how you actually transform an operation like that. We've, gone through our sources to give you a focused look at a 5-year roadmap. It's built on 4 key pillars.
Okay, what are the pillars?
Achieving operational excellence, strategic technology adoption, driving business growth.
So now here's where
and
things get
building
even
a future-ready
crazier.
organization.
I can call into the podcast by clicking this. So I might have to enable it real
Today we're
quick.
tackling-
Oh, hey there, what's up?
So I have no time in my day. How in the world am I going to accomplish this?
Oh, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah, it totally is. And honestly, that feeling of being stretched thin, we hear you.
What's key here is that this isn't about doing everything all at once. Our roadmap emphasizes that phased implementation.
Think of it like this.
Isn't that so? I mean, I don't know about you, but that's pretty cool.
I think you're scared he's the floor.
I mean, raise your hands if you think that's kind of cool. Yeah. And it took me all of 30 minutes to do that, and no skill, no experience, just knowing what tools to use. Like I said, these tools are free if you have a Google
Can
Workspace.
you make it like I want the host to be Sean Connery and Reese Witherspoon?
No, it's not that point yet.
Oh, man, that would be
but it will be soon. So let's move on to another example. Chris has Chris has some examples. You said you got to plug in your laptop.
Oh yeah, Zoom info.
Yeah.
Prospecting.
Yeah. So this will answer your. I'm sorry. What was your name? Nick. This should answer your query.
So a lot of the stuff, the do not be afraid prospect research, time-saving prospect, Google, like some of this stuff, I want to start kind of ripping through some of your questions just because I don't know the answers to some of these. Notice I went up there and I wrote down Notebook, LM, and Breeze and put boxes around them. Guess why I did that? Because I've never heard of them before and they sound cool.
It's like Legos, remember?
Like, and again, we didn't like rehearse this. We're like, oh, come up with 2 and I'll pretend I don't know them. Like, I'm like, dude, Breeze sounds awesome. I use HubSpot. Why aren't I using that in HubSpot? So there's a lot of cool stuff that I think we can rip through on some of this. We connected. Yes, I'm a deadhead. Yes, I just got back from Vegas seeing them at the Sphere. All right, there we go. All right, so remember I said, like, hey, what's the early adoption for AOL versus Facebook versus ChatGPT? I just did that in front of you 20 minutes ago, right? It's a really good place to find really good, quick answers. Non-business case scenarios. I was telling Rick, my son, on his coach of his 8th grade lacrosse team, he had 6 games in 2 days, and I asked it to write me a pregame speech for the guys for all 6 games based on if we kept winning or based on if we lost the game. And 6 games for the championship, and now the kids are saying some of the stuff Matt taught as like their team mantra of the weekend. 6 games, 2 days, 1 mission. 6 games, 2 days, 1 mission. I'm not gonna come up with something like that, but hey, we're holding the trophy on Sunday. That was pretty cool. So let's start with just the basics, not to be afraid. Anyone have a ChatGPT account?
Or
Okay.
another LLM like Claude.
Anyone have Grok? Anyone know what Grok is? Grok is through the Twitter platform, or the X platform. There's multiple different ones. Microsoft has their own. Google has their own. But just, they're free. Like, they'll put a cap on them, but just getting started, super simple.
There's
Okay?
free tiers, and then they have paid versions.
Yeah.
of it.
So I use a product called ZoomInfo. Anyone familiar with ZoomInfo as a product?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's use ZoomInfo in, how about LinkedIn? Okay. So is anyone from Tryon here? No? It's like the first one that Tryon hasn't sent multiple people to. Okay? So if I want to pull up Tryon on LinkedIn, I have a plugin in my Chrome browser that can show me all the buying group and decision makers within Tryon's team. Okay, so they're a company I want to target, they're a company I want to go after. If I want to expand this and do more research on the company or the people at the company, it gets a little amazing how much info is out there on us or what they can calculate with us. So if I just go to Tryon.com, I think that's their website. Rely on Tryon, right? Rely. Okay, there's our website. When I open ZoomInfo and Copilot,
Wi-Fi's a little slow.
oh, is it?
Yeah.
All right, everyone get off the Wi-Fi. Sound like yelling at my kids when I'm trying to watch a game. Turn off Fortnite. All right, while I'm waiting for that, I'll show you a couple different other uses. Anyone familiar with a product called Fathom? F-A-T-H-O-M, Fathom? How many of you are having client, prospect, business meetings with clients through a ZoomInfo Teams kind of application? Okay? So you're having client meetings, especially with Julie, what are your goals? Let's give you an update for your year. What are we trying to accomplish? Fathom can go in and record everything that happens in the meeting and give you a transcript of it. How many of you, show of hands, are taking notes right now in a notebook? Who's taking notes with a pen and a piece of paper right now? How many of you have gotten back to the office and looked at your notes and said, what the hell did I just write? I was writing so fast I can't even read my own writing.
Which, by the way, you can take a picture of that and have AI digitize that. For you.
That they can.
Yeah. If you don't want to change that.
Or how many of you are like, oh, they said something. I wrote down so much. What was the part where they talked about square footage and you don't know? The transcript can go to any part of the transcript and give you a summary. So I think I can zoom in on this, right? So the whole point, this is a training I did for a team based here in Michigan called SVT. This is a 2-hour training. Key takeaways from the training and what I wanted to work on. Topics we covered, the concept of equal business nature, upfront concepts, the 5 key elements of an upfront contract. As their team has got to now put this into practice because they paid me to go in there and teach them, I can send them this summary, and if I hit that button, it'll actually take you to that part of the talk. If there's something within the transcript where there was a key word said or there was a key issue that came up, so they work with a partner called CDW. So I want to see every time that the word CDW comes up, you don't have to go through the video and be like, oh, damn it, over 2 hours, when did you talk about CDW? It'll just take you to that point in the video. Like that, it just goes right there. One of the things I did in my coaching with them is I scripted an upfront contract with their partner. It basically says, you're telling me yes or no today, and if it's a yes, we're getting the next meeting on the calendar. So we ran through it, and they were like, oh man, this is so good, Chris. Can you write this down for us? No. But I can copy it out of the transcript and put it into a Word doc and tell AI to clean it up so that you now have a script you can practice, and you can put it in your own voice. So, for instance, this guy here, Jeff, is a very young associate. He's only been with them 9 months. Eric's been there 15 years. Eric's a little more old, a little more grizzled, gets bigger end clients. Jeff gets, a little more informal. So now Jeff and Eric, I can say, rewrite this in Jeff's voice, rewrite this in Eric's voice. And it's the same script, the same training for 2 guys, which would have taken me hours to sit there and write. Not because it takes me that long to write, because I'm that distracted and doing something for an hour straight takes me forever. It's right there. Yeah, what you got?
Do they know Jeff's voice and personality based on your call? Or are you bidding about Jeff's personality?
Very good question. Within Fathom, it has its own Ask Fathom feature that I haven't played with enough yet, but maybe. I'm now going to start playing with that. But another one I wanted to share with you is anyone have multiple sales meetings within their week, and you've got to go update your CRM and tell your boss, what are our next steps? When is our next meeting? How much is the deal worth? What is our forecast? Any of you have stuff where you're waiting on somebody else internally that they've got to get you a quote, or they've got to get you engineering numbers, or they've got to get you some information, and those are the key takeaways? So I have this summary, key takeaways, topics we're going to talk about, the training methodology that he wants me to customize. So like Sandler is pretty out of the box, but if they want me to customize it, I can take these prompts and just say, hey, rewrite our course on digital prospecting, LinkedIn, based on this industry. And it'll help me. Pricing and time structure, additional opportunity, like all the stuff, next steps, it's all in there. And I can go to the transcript and actually within Grok, you know my post-call debrief. Do you know my post-call debrief? Yes, I recall you mentioned a post-call debrief tool related to your work with Sandler Training, specifically for analyzing sales calls. I was like, okay, I don't need all that. But I have given it a document that I use after every call that says new information, what do we learn, who was present, maybe some roadblocks we have to come up, key takeaways, next steps. Do this for this transcript.
Did you grab like transcripts there, or how does it?
I just copied and pasted it. Up to the minute, it's got at 14:39 I said this, at 14:48 Chuck said this, at 14:58 it said this.
It's still hung up on this AOL Facebook.
Oh, I gotta reboot it. Not reboot
Well,
it.
no, it's something about Grok. It keeps within the context, doesn't know what are these conversations.
Okay, let's see if this is working good. All right.
Actually, while you're testing that, do you mind if I answer the question about the
Go ahead.
breakdown between the different LLMs? Unless that's ready. Oh, you got to pull it.
Go ahead.
Okay, so different breakdown. So like, there's like the main four, which is ChatGPT, right? Everybody knows about that. That's a good one because it's general and it can do a lot. It kind of does everything like decently, but there are other ones that excel in other areas. So like, what I use them for is ChatGPT is my primary. I use Grok because Grok is trained on the data from X or Twitter, which means that it's up to date and as relevant. And the other thing too is they don't really like not moderate. They don't really like make it too nice. So it will give you straight talk. It won't be like, wow, you're so smart. Thank you. Good job. And they're like most LLMs will do. So Grok is like straight talk, up to date, relevant. That's the way I think of it. Gemini is like very corporate, talking to like a super high-end business professional. Really nice for things like the deep research I showed you. And then Claude, really interesting one. Claude is trained by people who fundamentally believe that it is or will be sentient. And so they actually have a grief counselor on staff, like Miss Casey from, does that show Seven? Who actually checks in with the AI, how are you doing? You know, and so it's a little weird, but Claude is the most human LLM that you're going to talk to, and it's really good at code. So that's kind of like a little bit. The other ones I've tried, they're kind of okay. Copilot has some potential, but it's okay. Same with Meta. I don't know if that helps at all.
Mm-hmm. So Chris, where are you in this process now? What was the next step?
So I've got the transcript for my sales call, and I just do a post-call debrief for this call. Call overview. These are the participants. Here's how long the call took. Purpose of it, what our key objective was. Key points and takeaways. What's our tailored approach? So if my boss comes to me and goes, where do we stand with JTech out of Kentucky? I can tell him, well, yeah, initial pricing, $1,000 a person. Chuck wants to keep it between 40 and 45. I said I could work within 40, 45 is better. Funding opportunity. There's federal and state grants you can go after. What are our clear next steps? and action items. What does Chris have to do? What does Chuck have to do? So what I can do is I can copy the next steps into an email with Chuck and say, or actually I'll just do this. Write an email to Chuck thanking him for the meeting and confirming next steps. Thank you for your time to review the standard proposal on March 19th. It was great to align on the details and to confirm the customized training, team assessments, and 2-day on-site boot camp in Bronson for your kind person. Does that sound like me? You guys know me.
Go.
Please, less formal. Chuck is a friend. Nah, he's not a friend.
Now, one thing that's cool about that too is if you don't want to have to kind of like keep dialing it in, we've created several. I think we're up to like 7 or 8 custom chatbots that we use for different things. One of them would be like a persona bot. So like you just talk to this one and you say, "Give me this, write it this way." Or you don't even have to tell it; it just does.
Just please, less formal. Chuck is a friendly. He's an engineer, so more bullet points too. Hey, Chuck. Great catching up on the Sandler proposal. Appreciate you walking through it with me. We're dialed in and I'm pumped about the fund grant. Here's what we're going to do. Proposal, pricing, next meeting, grant funding participants. Hit me up, call, text, email. Does that sound more like me, Rick?
Yeah. Except for, can I point one thing out?
Yeah.
This little thing right here is called an M-dash. It's a little bit of an indication that you're using AI. So I know a lot of writers hate it when people like me say this, but most people don't use the M-dash. So if you see that, you could just say, "No M-dashes." Might not listen to you. Just swap it out for a comma.
And I'm going to always read this and clean it up a little bit before I send it. I am not an exclamation point user when it comes to emails. So I will either tell this, get rid of the M dashes and the exclamation points, or like the only time I use exclamation points, Courtney will confirm this, is if I'm being really sarcastic and there's like 5 of them with question marks mixed in. But that's just my tone. So what that meeting was, how long would it have taken me to write this up in my CRM? How long would it have taken me to get Chuck an email for next steps? How long would it have taken me to do whatever? And just with you guys right here in a matter of seconds, like I said, I don't use AI because I'm brilliant. I use it because I'm lazy.
Another interesting point too is people are going to want to stop saying perfection because AI does perfection. And so people want to see human generated stuff. So this is kind of cheating, but Claude, remember I said Claude is very human-like? I needed to write a bunch of prospecting emails, so I worked through an automation with Claude that I trained, keep it human, throw some errors in there. So like a few spelling errors, a few grammar errors, maybe things.
I object.
Because you don't have to do that, but like what I wanted it to look like was it wasn't like you get these prospecting emails that you can tell, yeah, you just swap my name out with somebody, like whatever it's called, the bracket thing. So I wanted it to feel a little bit more human. I was testing this. It wasn't like I'm advising you do that, but you can do that, you know. So
here's an example. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to give an example of personalized a bit.
Yeah.
So you can also put somebody's LinkedIn profile,
yeah.
GBT, in your prospect email can be personalized to what in school, where they worked previously.
Really good point. I hadn't thought about that. See, it's like the Legos thing, right? I didn't think about throwing in their LinkedIn.
I'm sorry. What's your name?
Sarah.
Sarah.
H.
H. Last name?
Abelson. ABLE.
We should move to the workshop soon.
Okay. Sarah Abelson. That's you?
Yeah.
Okay. How open is your LinkedIn? Very open. Right? So, take a guess on her disc style and prospecting challenges.
That
she
would
might
very
have.
check because it might take the past contest. Or make it well done. So.
You think then what? Where are you in my account?
This is Grok.
This is Grok.
Okay.
And you're just copying the URL and you're not copying it over LinkedIn or just putting the URL.
Just where it has to do what?
So you answer this call. I can't access Sarah's LinkedIn profile directly to analyze her specific background. I'm gonna fight. Okay. Do you know disc, Sarah? Mm-hmm. Okay. No, this isn't really giving us what I wanted. And I think it's because you and I are not first degree connected, so it doesn't
I
have.
just wrote it.
Just an example.
Claude would look at that and go through that to that query.
Some days you would read LinkedIn, some days it won't. On the days it won't, just go Control A, paste. Go give me the disk how much it is, because I do that every time I read.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
were
So
you saying?
again, like you said, it's not perfect, but if I've met you and I know you, like, what's your disk style?
Even getting into like personality and this will kind of and when they're school together or
Yeah.
do they go there?
Yeah.
So here's a perfect example of like how ZoomInfo works with this. So it's already gone. This is ZoomInfo's Copilot. It's ZoomInfo's version of an AI tool, and it's already gone through because it knows I'm a sales performance coach and told me what challenges Tryon might be having based on there being an HR service provider and a PEO. I can go to the account AI and ask them. This is a great thing. Company overview, year founded, all this. Here's a good stat. 98% of buyers have done research on the companies that they're thinking about buying from online. Have you ever bought anything in the last couple of years without at least going online to see how many star reviews the restaurant had on Google or Yelp, or what the reviews were on Amazon, or if you're getting work done at your house or roof, did you actually go and type them in to see if they're in the Hall of Shame on Fox 2 or something like that? Yeah, our customers are researching us, 98% of them. We should be researching them. Because they can tell us stuff like C-suite members. This can tell me hirings, firings, funding, scandals, investments. Were they in the news? You're trying to come up with a reason to reach out to Tryon, and it actually tells me, what's been going on within their company. All right. Cardone Ventures partners with Tryon Solutions. That's a little bit old.
Did you get the same information from ChatGPT?
Not as in depth. ZoomInfo's the best for prospecting. Do you mind if I switch over to the just so I can?
Yeah, just let me show you this. You know what they're not going to show me in ChatGPT is their chief sales officer, their CSO, his direct email and his cell number.
Yeah.
You want to prospect? Go here.
ZoomInfo's best for prospecting.
And here, I'll just give you one more quick one, just because this is another example. I have a client that is this, trucks and Jeeps, called AEV out in Wixom. So if you ever see one of those Jeeps and it's like all lifted, big tires, kits, they got like ladders and gas cans on the back. AEV buys those, upfits them, and sells them to dealerships. So the one guy was complaining about he didn't have enough time in his day to get to all the dealerships in the Denver area. So I said, okay, give me turn-by-turn driving directions to every Jeep dealership in Denver Metro. And it gave him a multiple day plan on how he could drive to each dealership in order to walk in, drop off some hats, shake the general sales manager's name. Okay, and we could also do stuff in here that says like, what's their volume? Give me the name of their general sales manager. Give me the name of their parts director. Give me a lot of that's in there.
Awesome. Thanks for showing all that, Chris.
Again, there's so many other things I didn't even get to because it's just anytime you think like, gee, I wonder if I can. I've gone to Grok and it's told me to go to a different platform and try it there.
All right, so let's move out onto the breakout session. One thing I want to kind of show you guys is we have this. This is a download. At the end, there's a questionnaire. If you fill that out, it'll take you through a downloads page for a bunch of assets. This right here is an AI roadmap that we put together. And the idea behind this roadmap is right now, if you have not used AI, we want you by the end of this class to be in the activation or the dabbler stage, which is like you're using it. So this over here is a little bit of a gut check or a checkpoint. If you answer no to this question, you're still in this phase. If you answer yes to this question, you've moved on. That's kind of the basic idea. We use this. This is incredibly helpful as a tool to kind of help see where you're going. So this workshop, I'm going to try and get you guys, if you're at the dabbler stage, great. Maybe we can get you to the builder stage. But the idea is to get you from here to there so that you actually start to see some use cases with AI. All right, so let's get into that real quick. you'll see here at your table, you have a questionnaire, or not a questionnaire, workshop. What is this? Workshop guide. Thank you. The workshop guide is focused on first helping to develop and establish pain, where you are losing time. Somebody had mentioned time wasters. A reward, something that you could do with the time that you free up. That way you kind of have a little bit more motivation to get through it. How much it will cost, and so this you're going to have to use an LLM. So I'm thinking that when we break out, we could probably do tables, as long as there's not too much discussion where you don't actually get something written down. But it would be helpful if there was one person at every table who has an LLM, which is either Chat or Grok or Gemini or Claude. Any of them will work, where you can ask it, hey, here's my problem. Here's what would free me up to do. What are some tools and how much are they going to cost? So understanding that, and then you'll see at the bottom, when are you going to do it, right? So there's, at a workshop like this, only 5% of people actually get something out of it. I don't want that to happen. That's why I have the, when are you going to do this sort of thing at the bottom, right? So you see the questions, a task you dislike, what is it going to free you up to do more of? And then using an LLM, figure out how much time, money, and effort is involved. And the reason why I stress that is because when I was starting out, I didn't know to ask that question. So I went down a whole on rabbit trail because the LLM told me, yeah, you can do this. Didn't tell me it was going to cost thousands of dollars, tons of expertise. I didn't know how to code. And in addition, because I started coding, I'm like, this code's not working. Help me out write this code better. So I was like, oh, well, you need a minimum Python level 2, whatever experience. I'm like, oh, okay, you should have told me that before I started. So that's why you want to ask about this. Get a good understanding before you get into it. So, 10 minutes? Yes.
May or may not be relevant. So I still feel like a kindergartner in here,
Okay.
and I feel like you talk.
I love the oddest stage.
And you talk to the third grade level. So I'd like to know who else feels like they're a kindergartner in East Alphanet, or are y'all like in high school now with this?
So I appreciate that. I don't want.
And there's no right answer,
Yeah.
right?
Matthew, so are you gonna do this right now?
If we have time, we only have 15 minutes left.
Do you wanna wrap up and then, cause some of us will have to go.
That's a
right
good
then,
point.
And then we
Are
can
are
stay.
you guys cool if we do a quick wrap up and maybe you could take this with you? Would that
I
help?
have one question
Yes.
I think will help people
Yeah.
understand. So is the number 3 up there,
Yeah.
A, B, and C. So from number 1, write down the task you dislike. Dealing with my CRM, which is HubSpot.
Okay.
So using those questions, would I then ask my tool how
Yes.
much time is so? This is where I'm getting feeling. Do I say like how much time is required to set up for you to help me with my CRM?
So-
what would be the
Fantastic question. Basically, you take your task and you remember talk to it like it's a teammate. Say, here's this task. It's very frustrating. It's costing me time. Whatever. You explain all that. I need a tool that's going to help fix this. Ideally, like you said, with HubSpot, you can ask it, and they know HubSpot. And you can say, how within HubSpot can I do this? How much money will it cost? Like in HubSpot, they might say, well, you have to buy the Sales Hub Pro or whatever. Okay, well, that's X amount of dollars per month. How much effort is involved? Could take about 4 hours to get that set up.
So let me walk through it. What's your biggest frustration with HubSpot?
or your enter?
Okay.
I just taking the time to. I have so many fun stuff. It's like getting all my contacts in there, using the
Okay.
airplane system we have set up.
Getting your contacts in there, right? Where are these contacts? Are they in a spreadsheet? Is it business cards you get at a network
All
meeting?
of those, all
Give me a specific one.
business card, yeah.
Business
They
cards.
have. I know they do have. There's a scanning tool.
Yeah. So if you went directly to ChatGPT and typed in, what's the best business card scanning app for my, are you iPhone or Android? For an iPhone, to get my contacts into HubSpot, it'll tell you, well, these are the 3-4 options available. This one has the most information. Like, are you a HubSpot administrator or just a user?
User.
Okay. Are you the administrator?
No.
Okay. But I use it for stuff like I have a spreadsheet full of people. How do I import that? And it'll say, step 1, click on the gear setup. Click step 2, go to this. Step 3, do this. Make sure the columns are mapped for email, phone number, all this. It'll, like anything you have to do with a HubSpot, build me a dashboard for my activity. Build me a dashboard for my pipeline. Build me a report for this. Like,
So I can ask that tool instead of calling my HubSpot person. Like, can you tell me how to do this or make videos or show me how to do this? Give me a training.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like, was our HubSpot's admin, and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not a business that gets paid to onboard for people. When my clients come in, they're like, hey, Chris, you told us we needed a CRM. We went with HubSpot. How do we do this? I can't sound like I don't know what I'm talking about. So I'm like, that's a good question. Let me call you right back. And I rush to ChatGPT, type it in, and then I go, okay, hop on the Zoom. I'll walk you through it. And click on here, click on here. All right. No, and I always say like, hey, I'm in the middle of something. Can you give me 5 minutes? I'll call you right back. I'm not in the middle of something. I just don't know how to do it. So I'm lying to them.
Remember what I said about using AI to get better with AI? So yes, I think that's a good. If you guys are okay, because we're short on time, to move on
And then
just let you
also-
take that. Yeah,
I think, I don't know if you have a date set up for the webinar, but,
we have to sign it.
okay, so if you get people on that, then we could get back together
Yeah.
on that webinar and
Yeah.
run through all these questions, because, yeah, I'm on kindergarten level.
Well, and like I said, so we're dumping everything, like so much at you, and there's so much more that we haven't even talked about. So, this QR code will take them to the sign up for the webinar as well.
It's a survey, let us know, yeah, it's a survey, and then we'll follow up with an email.
Gotcha. You'll be added to an email list where you can sign up for the webinar.
If
So-
you check the webinar box.
Yeah. So these are just some additional resources. That roadmap, super huge. But these are some other tools. This is if you need to do rebranding. It's a right fit checklist, helps you find the right fit.
And they're free.
And they're free resources. Yeah. Sorry, you don't have to pay for them. That's free with the QR code. And then the other one is a launch kit for rebranding. Chris, do you have any other
Oh,
closing?
wait, let me just say too, and that will also get you the slides.
Yes, the slides.
Fill out the survey, the thank you page has the slides you can download, it has the AI roadmap you can download, it has a checkbox. If you want to hear about the webinar, you'll get an email for that webinar.
Yeah. Okay. A couple quick takeaways. Greg, you said you were kind of at the kindergartner level. Did you come in not being able to speak, and now at least you can speak and you're potty trained? Did we bring some value?
So I'm gonna talk
Okay. So
You can call us anytime.
you're going to get an email from the chamber because you registered. They had the email address, and it's going to ask you to do a couple things. First of all, rate the content. Like, did we deliver value to you, and like, what's the takeaway you have from it? Rate the speakers and let us know if we need to get better on something to make it more formal, less formal, like volume, the room, whatever. So you're going to get a survey rating us. Second thing, it's going to have Matthew and I's LinkedIn links in there. Please ask if we're not already connected. We as ambassadors, as Auburn Hills people, we network. We're connected with a lot of you already. If we're not, we'd like to meet you. And then the third thing is there is like, hey, we're doing this for free, but it's kind of like the infomercial part, or like the timeshare. Now that you've had the free meal, we can try to sell you something. We're not going to try to sell
But
you
you
something.
can't leave the room until you buy something.
But you know that he does branding, and you know I'm a sales performance coach. If you want more information on what we do, please tell us. We're doing this to kind of promote ourselves as well. Fair?
Love it.
It was worth showing up to find out how to make long drinks.
Right?
I mean, I pool opened yesterday. I'm like, boss.
Actually,
It's a little cold.
I am kind of curious. Anyone want to throw out something they got out of value today? Something?
Yeah, give me a takeaway. Something you're going to put into practice going forward.
Courtney? Yeah, good one.
I'm gonna go check out Breeze.
Breeze. No doubt.
No-click LLM, I've never seen that feature of calling it to the. It's like, oh, it'll freak my wife out because I ever see the movie Burr with Joaquin Phoenix?
Yes.
I was talking in the basement. She goes, well, who are you talking to? And I go, it's my AI agent. She goes, you gotta stop that.
I talk to AI every time I walk my dog. Courtney, you have
Are you going to go and ask them to do a podcast with Norm MacDonald interviewing Roddy Lee?
I would never leave the house. I was, yeah, that's perfect utopia right there.
All right. Courtney had a question.
Chris helped me just as ever watches this or ever you guys come up with a quick prompt for prospecting too. And using location points, I think is something that I haven't necessarily been doing, but he was using things like the ISOV at Torador, you trying to find companies, contacting duration, in a certain geographic location, other than just on.
So, like, John, you insure restaurants, right?
Yes.
Or like, what's a target industry or business that you insure?
I insure. I mean, I'm a personal lines expert, so
Okay.
got to ensure professionals, the assets to protect.
Okay, so not in businesses as much.
Not
But I was just like, Paul, you do promotional items. If there's a big season coming up because it's tax season or it's auto show season or it's whatever, just type up, give me a list of, like, so Automate was just in town last week. Give me a list of every robotics manufacturer or supplier within 15 minutes of downtown Auburn Hills. And it'll give him a list. And then he can take something like Zoom Info and go, okay, give me the name of their marketing manager. Okay, and it'll give me an email that says, you know, is it hard to stand out in a crowd at, you know, conferences and events? One of the specialists of Paul Adlo is, we help people find the, like, write me an email, and then you can send it to her, him and all the other companies. You don't know who to talk to? Ask AI. It'll tell you.
Chris's thought too, to take it a step further, like in my situation, could upload my membership list as well and say, as an extra stacking, only provide you the list of companies that are not members of the chamber. Here's our current membership list in this.
Yeah. One thing that like we're going to talk about in the next webinar is how to train a bot. It's really cool and very easy. Those tools we use daily. I use them daily. I had a bot that I needed to do rapid pricing, so I trained it on all of our pricing, as well as additional information that we would need for to disseminate for SOPs. So it took me some time to train it, but once I got done, now all I got to do is take the transcript from the notes, or the notes from the transcript, throw it into this bot, and it spits out a quote and a list of everything that's going to be needed to complete the job. So that saves me a ton of time. Yes, Paul.
The webinars you're referring to are free or fee-based?
Oh, I was going to say free. I mean, like Chris said, it's a chance for us to get a chance to talk about ourselves, you know, so.
But it is continually learning. Even you just learned something today from.
Yeah, they throw me differently. Yeah, it's great. I love it. So,
For you giving it personal information, right? So if I use the bot to, let's say I'm having a call with one of my clients and I want it to automatically fill out a proposal form instead of me having to type it in, I'm just talking. But I mean, that's their personal information that now is on a free ChatGPT.
well, it's training its data on that, which is why that's a concern. You would have to make sure that whatever tier you're using, so the enterprise. Yeah, so there's models that can secure that, even like confidential stuff.
Yes.
So because I'm using free version, when I do something with the client and there's proprietary information, I put it in a Word document, which I think Word is not we print stuff anyway, so it's not proprietary. But then I say switch out this with X, Y, and then switch out this, so that I could put that in. I take out the proprietary information, I put it into the chat, use the AI for it, and then I take it back out and I can find and replace.
Yeah.
So I'm not feeling like I'm putting out into the web sphere.
Yeah.
There.
Remember what I said about the different attitudes? You still have to be careful, right? We haven't talked about the pitfalls, but there's, like I said, we could go on for days talking about this sort of stuff. So if you're
Thank you,
interested,
guys.
the technology is going to keep advancing. If you're interested in more, sign up for the webinar, and you'll be on the list for the webinar.
And I've got a QR code up there too. We do AI webinars specifically on sales. So if you wanted more information, tip my QR code too on the banner.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming.